First of all, I want to thank all of you so much for coming. I just think it's really quite wonderful. I want to tell you just a little bit about what we've done in the last few days and what we had in mind for today. First of all, this is the second of two services. Part of our family lives in Colorado, and part of our family lives here. And we had the idea that rather than move all the children and all of that, that we would have two services. So we did that in Colorado just a few days ago. And we had mostly friends, as Joanne has told you, from the skating world. And we did that. And that turned into something that surprised me a little bit. In that, of course, it was a funeral, and a funeral, of course, is sad. And I guess nobody feels that more than I do. But also there was something, another dimension. It was very happy because it turned into a celebration of her life, and it turned into an opportunity for people to renew the bonds of friendship. And so we were very impressed by that. And we knew it would be different here. We knew that there would be friends also, which we appreciate so much that they're here. But we also knew that there would be many more family members here than we had there. And we thought perhaps this would be an opportunity to have a reunion of the family members who we really haven't seen for a long time. I grew up in the midst of a family, two families that had 8 children. And each of those 8 children had 2 or 3 children of their own. And we all lived close to one another. And we all saw one another all the time. And we were all very close. And then somehow, as the years went on and the parents all departed, that sort of disappeared. And we thought we had the opportunity to bring them together here today. And we successfully did it to a very great extent. And it was really quite wonderful because all of our cousins knew one another and knew who we were, but we hadn't seen each other very much. So we were awfully happy with that. And we were awfully happy with the whole question of friends and family. We got some very special friends here. I'm not going to bother naming people, although I'm looking at one of them right now. We got some very special friends, and we've got some very special family members here as well. We have some people I want to single out in terms of family. Of course, my 3 children are here, with the children of only one of them, the others have remained in Colorado. We got it in the other celebration. The children that are here are my oldest grandson, Drew, and my second grandson, Cody, and my little girl, Sweetie, grandchild, Corey, and she's there too as well. And then we have a new generation here today. We have our great-grandchildren, and they are London and Gage, and they're here with their beautiful mother, who we welcomed as the newest member of our family. So we're just awfully happy about all of that. And we want to turn this into something that isn't sad, but a chance for us all to connect. We love you all, and we appreciate it enormously that you're here. Now, my brother Bobby, I cut him off in the service because I thought we were running just a little bit long, but he had some things that he had wanted to say, and I promised him he'd have that opportunity here. So Bobby, if you come up, if you're here, you can tell the group what you have in mind. Bobby, is Bobby?
Tell me how long to say.
Well, how long do you want?
I don't want to talk too long. 2 minutes?
No, 2 minutes is wonderful. Okay, you can have more. You can have more.
I don't want to.
Okay, you gotta come up here and get the microphone.
All right.
I'm not going to bring it over there, okay?
Yeah, all right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we're very informal, everybody. By the way, anyone else who would love to say anything, it would be very nice. Remember, this is a celebration. This is not the sad part. And again, I can't get happy when I say it. Go ahead, did you want to say?
After Bobby, I'd like to
After
say
Bobby? Okay, and anyone else? Okay. Bobby, we're waiting for you.
Yeah. You want to bring it here? Or
No, I can't.
You want to walk up there?
Yeah. Yeah. This is not time for this, whatever you're reading.
What? I'm the oldest. Oh, no, I know, he's younger. He's
Well, maybe while we're waiting about
4 years.
somebody else would
I
like
think
to
he's,
say something. Here we are.
I wonder why. I think he didn't.
Here you go.
I'll just bring up one wonderful memory with Edith. I think that she was a person who never complained, never blamed anyone for little things that happened. And this relates to Lynn Allen's children. As you know, Lynn Allen, your children all went to Will Rogers Junior High, and so did I, and so did Arthur. Well, one time when I was in Long Beach with them, Arthur asked Edie to do some errands, go on the Belmont Shore, and she shopped, the Egyptian drugstore on the market was there, and accidentally, no fault of her own really, she banged into a car, and I didn't know at the time, but the man was the principal of my junior high. I was long since had graduated from the school, but she took it like a good trooper and didn't blame anyone, didn't complain. She could have blamed Arthur and said he should have sent me out when I was tired and I made a mistake. And she was such a good sport about it. So that's just one memory. I like to have that light memory. It's like something more out of a sitcom. Imagine if you're, someone close person to you bumped into the car of your former junior high school principal. Then she had another very funny memory. We both shared a professor we both had at UCLA, and he taught a course in American humor. She had the same course many years earlier, half a generation earlier than me. And she said the funny thing about this professor who taught American humor, he never smiled once during the entire course. He just had a monotone.
Oh, that's funny.
He said, like that for us. It was supposed to be American humor, and he talked about Mark Twain and all the back, the humor and the tall tales, and he never even laughed the whole time. Imagine thinking about Mark Twain and never even laughing. And we thought it was so funny. So she had all these wonderful, and then another thing we had in common, we liked the same books. And there was one book she loved so much, it was called A Tale of Two Cities. And Arthur recently, with his computer, he was able to download the whole thing on the computer. And we were trying to remember what we could still remember from that book. And and it began, like this, it was the best of times, the worst. And he could do it perfectly. It was a lot of fun. So I love sharing those, intellectual type of interests. And we'd see movies together. And one of the movies we saw very appropriate to today's humor, and Arthur saw it with me, of course. It was called Love is a Many Splendored Thing. It was sometime in the 1950s. And of course, you know how much love is involved with that family. And the other film, I remember, was called Blackboard Jungle. And the late Anne Francis, who just died at the age of 80, she was in it, along with Glenn Ford and Sidney Poitier. And all of you can download it on your computers today, and so you can see the film that your mother enjoyed in the 1950s. And in her memory, I'd like all of you, if possible, to see those films again, because now with the modern, video and computer age, you can see it again. And there I was as a relatively young man in the 1950s seeing that. So I think that'd be good. I'd like a lot of you to do it if you could. It wouldn't cost very much money. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby. I can't help it, but that's my little brother. Okay, now we have, someone, I forgot who it was now. You guys come. Okay, now, talking about friends and family, this is the most special friend that my daughter Lynell and I know that she was friend, but I know that's not the last one.
My new name is Ursula. I still like to watch her. This isn't my baby. It's Dakota and James, but I didn't want to give him up. Lynell and I met in junior high school. She had a crush on my brother, and so she thought a good way to get to him would be through me, and we became very good friends after that. And when we were about 20, Lynell's parents lived in the Chicago on the medical school grounds. Was that what it was? And there was an apartment there. It was a rather unique place. So Lynell and I decided to go out there because we were loose and fancy free, and so we went out there and lived in Chicago for a winter. That was yeah, that was something. We drove in the Volkswagen that had the hole in the floor from all the salt on the roads. You could drive and look down onto the street under your feet. It was kind of scary, but what I wanted to talk about